Yeah. Chirp 6. Here's your Whoa Nelly. Bruins sign Minnesota captain Jaxon Nelson, a big center, 6'4", 220 pounds, 24 years old, played 5 seasons at Minnesota, 11 goals in his last 8 games, a late blooming offensive player. The compete level, was it always there? That type of thing. Didn't put a lot of great offensive numbers up until the last season, really. And then what happened? What happened to Graf and Quillen? Quillen goes and signs with Toronto of all teams,
Mhm.
and Graf now up in the air. And people I've seen talk about him say maybe the Rangers could be there, and that the Bruins haven't been in it at all, really.
Yeah.
So it looks like Nelson is the guy that they land on as their third college free agent.
Yeah, I don't mind the siding because he's a
Right.
big guy. He's a center and he can score goals. So some size down the middle is never a bad thing.
Mhm.
I don't know how he is on faceoffs. I can honestly say I've seen him play maybe twice, maybe.
Right. Right.
So I don't really have a very good scouting report on the guy. But I hope he works out. I hope he works out because as we've touched on many times on here, with the lack of draft capital that the Bruins have and lack of draft picks, they really need to hit on some of these undrafted free agent guys. So hopefully, Mr. Nelson here can turn into something for the Bees, and he's a part of their future going forward.
Yeah. Here's the thing that they like about him, I'm sure. Same as John Farinacci with Harvard, is that he was a captain
Hmm.
and has leadership qualities. The Bruins have really focused on, in the last several years since Chara arrived, really on the room and the leadership and character and things of that nature. And by all accounts, Jaxon is a leader for that team and a captain, and he's mature at 24. I mean, there's similarities to Farinacci when he came over from Harvard. So that's another that's another part of it, I think, too, is
Sure.
and he's big, like you said. He's a center, which they need, sort of desperately. So I don't know. I mean, he had a good end of the season. I think he ended up with 19 goals, I think, this year.
Yeah,
But
19
he had
goals,
11 in his last 8. Like, he
yeah.
really caught fire at the end of the year. But he was a guy at 24 years old playing against 19, 20 year olds too. So that's the other part of it too. But it'll be interesting to see how he does in Providence. I think we'll see how he does. He's gonna do an ATO there and see if he gets some time. See how he does. I think it's still a long shot for him to be anything but a fill-in bottom, you know, fourth line guy, bottom six kind of guy, just because offensive production's not been great. When he was in high school, I look back, he had like 260 points in high school. Something
Yeah, I
unbelievable.
mean,
Vern High.
I think he
Like,
has a lot of skill, and maybe it's just he's either a late bloomer or, like you said, the commitment hasn't been there. So
right.
we'll see. Maybe as he's becoming a professional now, he's kind of and he's a little older than the normal kids coming out of the draft and so forth, that he's figured it out. And if he has, that's great. And the Bruins have got a steal. But if he hasn't, he'll be a AAA guy or a ECHL guy going forward if he doesn't put in the work and consistently play with the effort that the Bruins demand from their guys.
Right. And here's a quick little tidbit. Gophers were 8-1 when he scored a goal. How's that?
All
So
right.
there you go. When he scores, his hockey club is pretty much dominant, unbeatable. So there
Except
you have
for
it.
one
There,
time.
there you have it.